Alright everybody, welcome back to another turn of Operation Montagnard. This is going to be turn 6 for the Japanese, which is January of 39. I feel like there's a bit of housekeeping. Nope, no housekeeping, but before we get into it, at the very beginning of my turn, Siam does align to the Japanese because of the calendar date that it currently is. So all of these are Japanese units now, including 1 TBD and 1 destroyer. Alright, now we can get straight into the rest of the turn. I do have my tech die that I intend to roll set aside. Once again, it will be improved construction and improved factories. Really would like to hit both of them. We'll see what happens. Oh well, hit on just one again. It is improved construction. It is what it is. Okay. Moving on to purchases. I want to buy 3 artillery, 2 marines, and 1 airborne for 23, which is the entirety of my my Japanese bank. Alright, for combat moves, first off, now the British Commonwealth can declare war on the Japanese Empire, so I will have to be aware that passing any naval units through theirs is going to have to be a combat move from here on out. But in this case, I don't have any of that going on, so we'll get straight into the authentic combat moves, so to speak. We do have another jumble of drawings here. I have kept off the drawings of a few non-combat movements to keep things clean, and also a few bombards, which are easy enough for me to decide without lines drawn on the map to tell me where exactly I had everything planned to go. But we will get through it, and then when we get through the combat move, I'll have to do some of these non-combat moves on the fly. Okay, so we'll do the combat moves one at a time, We'll start with this one first, because that'll simplify a lot of the others. So 1 naval transport from P-32 is moving north into the sea zone south of Rihi. And then it's going to pick up 2 infantry from Beiping. And then that naval transport is going to go back south into P-32, where it's going to disembark both of those infantry into some amphibious assaults, 1 into Nanking and 1 into Yunnan. Alright, and the reason we did that one first is because most of the rest of the amphibious assaults are just into Nanking, so everything else is going to end up in the sea zone by Korea and Rihi. Okay, so starting south to north, the 2 Japanese naval transports that started north of P-50, I believe it's P-31, P-42 maybe, are going to be picking up 1 infantry from Hainan, and then moving 1, 2. That is their limit, and they're going to be stopping next to Korea. And that infantry is going to disembark into Nanking. It's also going to be joined by a mountain brigade and an infantry from Rihi, getting on those same naval transports and joining the amphibious assault, and 1 infantry from Beiping. Alright, the Marines from Beiping are going to be boarding the Siamese destroyer that's moving 1, 2, 3, also into the same sea zone, and that Marine is just going to be boarding the transport and then disembarking also into Nanking. Um, the Marines remaining in Beiping are coming out into the destroyer in that sea zone and then disembarking. This one is going into Hopei, and that's going to be the only amphibious assault into Hopei. Alright, so the two naval transports in sea zone P14 are moving into P15, picking up all the units in Kyushu, and then they're also moving into P14 and going to be disembarking into an amphibious assault of Nanking. Alright, I do believe that's all of the amphibious assaulting units confirmed. For aircraft, the aircraft in Rihi, the tactical bomber is flying into Hopei, and it's being joined by the 18th Air from Korea. The airborne infantry from Rihi is boarding the air transport, and it's going to be flying 1, 2, 3 to Hunan. The two aircraft from P14 are attacking Nanking, and the two aircraft to the south are attacking Hunan. That's going to be one from Formosa and one from P42. P41, whatever it is. P41, yeah. Okay. The second fleet of bombarding units, that's two battleships, one battle cruiser, and 3 heavy cruisers, are moving into P14 as well, where one battleship is bombarding Hopei, and the rest are bombarding Nanking. One light carrier and one heavy cruiser from P41 are moving to P32. That will have to be a combat move for the aircraft carrier because aircraft are going to land there. And the heavy cruiser is going to be bombarding Hunan. And the fleet carrier from P14 is also moving south to catch aircraft. And that's a combat move as well. And that should cover all of the combat moves. And these are all the units engaging in Nanking with 2 aircraft. Just pulled them out because it was a little cluttered. Right there. Okay. That is all the combat moves declared. Ah, I missed one. The 41st from Suyan is moving into Hopei. Accepting the motor infantry from Suyan. That's going to be doing a non-combat. Alright, now we are prepared to start rolling for battles. We'll start north to south. With Hopei, we have 1 bombard at 4. Don't want to use the CCP die. Just bring these over. Okay. So we'll start with a bombard with a battleship on Hopei. For 4 or less. That is a miss. Okay, so on the actual combat, we have in Suyan 1 artillery for first strike. That'll be rolling at a 3 or less. That is a hit, so that is one of the militia cleared before firing back. Okay, so we'll roll for the rest of the attack, which is going to be 2 tactical bombers and 1 fighter. Just That's 2 hits, yeah. So 1 militia is still surviving so far. We have 3 at 2. Just roll these 3 die again. That'll be 2 cavalry and 1 boosted infantry. At 3, actually. We have no river penalty, no penalties. So there's 3 at 3. That's a 1 hit. So that's going to be enough. And then we'll roll 3 at 2 in defense. Nice. So the CCP is cleared with no damage to the Japanese army. Alright, moving south into Nanking, we have 1 battleship bombarding at 4. That's a miss. Battle cruiser bombarding at 3. That's also a miss. And 3 heavy cruisers bombarding at 2. All misses. Can't win them all. Okay, so into the actual attack, we have no first strikes because artillery are not participating. So we'll roll for 2 fighters. As both hits. Okay, so we'll roll for 2 militia in defense in a city at a 3 or less. 1 hit. Okay, I'll take a marine loss on that one. But Nanking is captured. And only 1 marine died. We'll clean that up in a bit. And then finally Hunan, we have 1 battle cruiser or 1 heavy cruiser at 2 for the bombardment. That is a hit, so that's cleared that battle with no combat at all. Oh, that's the wrong roundel. Excellent. Okay, that should be all of the combats done. So let's end the combat move with landing aircraft. The 2 aircraft from Nanking took off from P-14, so they can land 1, 2, 3 in Korea. They'll be joined by all of the aircraft from Hopei, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, so they can all reach Korea. And then the remaining aircraft from Hunan are just going to land in P-32 on the aircraft carriers, and that'll be good enough. Okay, the transport plane will be landing in Kyushu. Let's get into the rest of the non-combat movements. Okay, from M8, the submarine is going to abandon the sub-party. It knows a party when it's breaking up, and it doesn't want to be there when the cops show up. Okay, and the TBD from P50 is moving north into P41. It's going to be joined by the 2 TBDs in P32, which started in P32. They're all in P41 now. Okay, I don't actually have to care about anything else. Everything is blockaded. That's going to be good enough for me. So we'll just say there's no more non-combat moves, and that should be empire-wide. Yeah, okay. So we'll get on with placing buys. Ah, there is one more non-com. The motorized infantry from Suyon is driving into Rihi. Yeah, right. Okay, now place buys. We have no recruit rolls to make. And then we collect income. One artillery is being placed in Rihi. And then the rest of the units are all being placed in Kyushu. That's 1 airborne, 2 marines, and 2 artillery. Alright, now we should collect income. Japan has an income of 26. It also still collects 1 peacetime from oil trade with the United States, and it owns 1, 2, 3, 4 of the Japanese coast, bringing the total bank to 31. Alright, with that, I should be able to pass the board state off to Tactical for his next British Commonwealth and Free French turn. Well, just regular French. Before I stop recording, I will, as always, do a quick unit recap of where all the Japanese units are on the board for our friends on a physical board. Starting west to east, south to north, I-7 has 1 Japanese submarine. P-50 has 2 coastal submarines and 2 regular submarines. P-41 has 3 TBDs and 2 destroyers, which I actually will want to non-com them out too, because they don't have a port bonus. I guess they'll just go into P-14 with the rest of the stack of the fleet. Okay. So P-41 just has 3 TBDs. P-32 has 1 light cruiser, 1 naval transport, 1 heavy cruiser, 1 light carrier, 1 fleet carrier, 1 fighter, and 1 tactical bomber. Okinawa has 1 seaplane, Palau has a militia, Caroline Islands has a militia, Volcano Islands has a militia, Bonin has a militia, Marshall Islands has a militia, the Kuril Islands have a militia. The rest of Japan is empty except for Kyushu, which has 2 artillery, 2 marines, 1 airborne, and 1 air transport. P-14 has 3 destroyers, 1 light cruiser, 4 naval transports, another destroyer, so that's 4 destroyers total. Yeah, so 4 destroyers, 4 naval transports, 1 light cruiser, 2 battleships, 3 heavy cruisers, 1 battle cruiser. Rihi has 1 motor infantry and 1 artillery. Beiping and Suyon are empty. Hopei has 3 infantry, 2 cavalry, 1 artillery, and 1 marines. Hunan has 1 airborne, 1 infantry. Nanking has 4 infantry, 2 marines, 1 mountain infantry, and 2 artillery. That should cover everything, so I should be able to pass everything off to Tactical for his next turn now. Best of luck.